The hell is that on your shirt?
I don't know, gum or something.
What flavor gum is that? Big, fat, juicy.
Whoa. We're talking about Sorority Boys.
I was going to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And you're listening to Forgotten Cinema. Each episode, we highlight a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences. Whether it be because a more popular movie was released at the same time, or the film simply didn't catch on with audiences in its initial run. We'll discuss what we love about the movie, maybe don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it. If you enjoy Forgotten Cinema, we want to hear from you. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Honestly, we're everywhere. We're available on all platforms with a backlog of over 200 episodes for your pleasure.
What's going on? I was miming while you were talking.
Oh, yeah. I didn't notice.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Although I need to get evidence. I got kicked out of my my fraternity. So I have to go disguise myself as a woman, get back into the frat, get the tape, and get out of there without getting roofied and, stuff done to me.
I really didn't realize you went to college. And
I did go to college.
An ugly woman. Like you're in college now.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. I went back.
Yeah. And you would be an ugly woman. Now we're talking about Sorority Boys. That's right.
I would make a beautiful woman.
Sorority Boys is a runtime of 93 minutes. It's rated R. Production budget of $12 million, just like last week's movie.
Yay.
Release date was Friday, March 22nd, 2002. Yes, as I said before, this is over 20 years old, people. I know. Opening weekend, it did $4 million. Domestic 10, international 2.5, for a worldwide total of $12.5 million.
Wait. We got an international total?
We did.
This is the first episode, I think, in season 17 that came with an international. Oh, no. Maybe other Super 8, other than the Super 8 that had an international total.
Yep, we did. Production company was Touchstone Pictures and distributed by Buena Vista Pictures Distribution. So I said it came out on the 22nd of March. The week before March 15th, you had a wide release of Ice Age, Butler hitting the mic, Showtime, and Resident Evil.
Which one's Showtime?
Showtime is with Eddie Murphy and Robert De Niro.
Oh, I like that movie.
Yeah. What's funny is that Ice Age and Resident Evil, like, those are the first of 6 films that come out after.
Resident Evil got to 6, I know. Yeah.
I think Ice Age is on a 5 or 4 or 5. Definitely 5.
I think 5. Yeah.
And probably a bunch of different shorts,
spin-offs and shorts. Yeah.
You also had a limited release that week of Harrison's Flowers. The week of the 22nd, this film went up against E.T. the Extraterrestrial 20th Anniversary Edition. I think that's the edition with the walkie-talkies.
That's the walkie-talkies.
Ridiculous.
That's the one that inspired one of my favorite South Park episodes where they got to save Raiders, where George Lucas does the same thing to Raiders.
What also came out that week was Blade 2, which was a big hit, and it was very popular. And it's one of the best Blade films. It's better than Blade.
I mean, I think
Blade 2 is better than Blade.
Blade 2 has better action, but I think Blade 1 is better.
Blade 2 has better vampires. Better the vampires that open up all like the 4 like they look
sure, but story wise, I think Blade 1 is better. And then 3
it's not called Blade 1. It's called Blade.
The original Blade.
Okay, I'll take that. Blade has some good scenes like where they have the rave in the beginning and it starts.
The nightclub is awesome.
Yeah. But the Stephen Dorff fight at the end is just.
It's all CG.
Yeah, it really kills it for me. That's the one thing that kills Blade for me is that ending fight. Not the everything surrounding the fight, but just the actual CGI effects of the fight really bug me. What are we talking about? Sorority. The week after, the 29th of March, you had a wide release of Panic Room. That's a good one for our list, I think.
Clock Stoppers on there.
All right. Clock Stoppers. That's not a one for our list. The Rookie, Death to Smoochie, and a limited release of No Such Thing.
Death to Smoochie is also on our list.
Is it?
I put it on. I believe. I like Death to Smoochie.
I do too. This movie was directed by Wallace Wolodarski, who's done The Good House and Cold Blooded. It was written by Joe Jarvis and Greg Coolidge. I think it was an original script by Joe Jarvis because he's done nothing since or ever after. Or maybe it was just he sold it and good for him. Coolidge obviously probably came in and did some rewrites or worked with him. I'm not sure. He did the TV show The Continental. Did you watch that? Did you ever end up watching that?
No, I still have to get to that.
It's
your review of it was just like, all right.
Yeah, it's It's not John Wick.
That's the thing. It's
That's
like
my
if it
thing.
takes place in the John Wick universe, you have to put John Wick action in it.
And
if you're not going to have that,
it does have John Wick action, but it has John Wick TV action. Like John Wick, we don't have the budget for John Wick.
That's the problem.
Yeah. He also did Ride Along and Employee of the Month. Michael D. O'Shea is a cinematographer on this film. He's done The New Guy, Big Mama's House, and Robin Hood Men in Tights. Composer was Mark Mothersbaugh. I think I said that wrong. He's done Thor Ragnarok, The Royal Tenenbaums, and Cocaine Bear, of course. Edited by Richard Halsey and Todd Lautenberg. Halsey, I can't remember the movie Joe versus the Volcano. So Halsey has edited Joe versus the Volcano, American Gigolo, The Net, and he won an Oscar for Rocky. And Lautenberg did Brick. He was a second editor on Brick, and he was an assistant editor on the TV show of Scrubs. Great show. Produced by Larry Bresner and Walter Hamada. Bresner has done The Birds, which is a season 1 episode, the first episode we ever did.
First real episode.
The first published episode we ever done. And Good Morning Vietnam. And Hamada has done the Batman, Aquaman, and Blue. He's basically an executive producer.
He's a big DC guy, which I guess a lot of people have had problems with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Explain.
Well, just a lot of the stuff about like the ability, like Joss Whedon's attitude on set was encouraged, like not encouraged, but basically ignored by him.
Oh, interesting.
And so a lot of people were like, he shouldn't be in there. He made a lot of decisions that a lot of actors and writers didn't agree with. He shot down a lot of films that probably would have done well. So
interesting. I didn't know that. You learn something new every day.
Well,
no.
Granted, he could be making the right decisions. I wasn't there, so I'm not disparaging him. I just know there's a lot written about his tumultuous time at DC.
Interesting. Oh, well. Anyway,
I'm sure we'll get a comment that says I'm wrong.
Ooh. Barry Watson is in this movie. He plays Dave and then Daisy. He's in the TV show Seventh Heaven, Teaching Mrs. Tingle and the Boogeyman. Teaching Mrs. Tingle might be a good forgotten
I was
cinema.
just going to say, I know I saw it, but I don't remember much about it. I mean, I know what the movie's about.
Yeah.
But I don't remember if I like it or not.
That's why I think it's a good forgotten horror, or not forgotten horror, but forgotten movie on our
Do you
list.
really remember it?
I remember bits and pieces.
Yeah.
I remember not liking it as much as like Scream or The Faculty. But I don't think it was bad. I think I just wasn't into it.
I think it was a little different than Scream or The Faculty.
It was.
So I think people went into it hoping it was going to be like a Scream.
It's not really a horror film.
Exactly.
Per se. Yeah. Michael Rosenbaum as Adam or Adina. He's in the TV show Smallville. He plays Lex Luthor, Urban Legend, and Pool Hall Junkies. I think he's more known for being in the podcast world now.
I think his podcast is more famous at this point.
Which is actually very good. I like it.
It's one of the podcasts I listen to pretty much regularly.
Harland Williams as Doofer, or I hit that hard, or Roberta, Down Periscope, Half Baked, and then he was a voice in Meet the Robinsons, which was a show we did.
You don't like Down Periscope, right?
No, I like Down Periscope.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
I've always wanted to put it on the list, but I thought for some reason I remember you not liking it.
I like it. I
love Down Periscope.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a huge Harland Williams fan. Like I like some of the stuff he's in. I don't like everything he's in, but I do like Down Periscope.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it on the list.
All right. Melissa Sage Miller as Leah. She's in The Guardian, Mr. Woodcock, and Soul Survivors. Leah is the counterpart to Dave, like the love interest.
The female lead.
The female lead. Yes, indeed. Tony Denman as Jimmy. He's in Fargo, Barely Legal, and Dorm Days. Jimmy is Adam's protege. Brad Bayer as Spence, who has that stupid accent or that stupid voice inflection.
Yes.
The General's Daughter, 42, and the TV show Jericho. Catherine Stockwood is Patty. She's in Party Mamas, a TV show, and the Smart Woman's Survival Guide TV show. Heather Matarazzo as Katie from Welcome to Dollhouse, The Princess Diaries. She's also in Scream 3 and 5. It's called Scream, but that's Scream 5. Right?
Okay.
Or Scream 6.
I still haven't seen
the one she plays the mother of the twins that are introduced in the Scream that takes place in Woodsboro. So when they go back, I think that's 5.
The new Scream, the
Scream is 6.
Restarted with 5.
Right.
The one that's just called Scream.
She plays. Oh, you never saw that?
I still didn't go back.
So you haven't seen 6 either.
I haven't seen the 2 new ones. Yeah. But you didn't like the newest one. 6.
Well, because
you like 5.
Because
you like 5
Sydney
a lot.
Bristol wasn't in it. That's why. It's not her.
Sydney's not in it.
I want the Sydney story. I don't care about the other ones. Yeah.
She's going to be in 7. Or no, did they cancel that indefinitely?
No, she's in 7. They just announced they signed her.
Yeah, but then I thought there was something going on with it.
No, I think the people that got canned. I don't.
Who knows?
Who knows? I can't keep up. Yvonne Scio is Federique. She's in the TV show Red Rose and Red Line. And then you have like Peter Scolari was in this, which I couldn't find him. I don't know where he was. Wendy Jo Sperber's in this. You see her. She's obviously in Back to the Future and Bosom Buddies. She's the women's history teacher. Then you have a bunch of people from 3 people from Animal House. Dave's father, Barry Watson's dad, is James Doughton. He's in Animal House. He plays one of the he's like one of the he's not of Animal House. He's the other guys, whatever the
douchey frat,
the norms or whatever. Yeah, Mark Metcalf is in this. Stephen Furst is in that. They're just like they're in the background, but they're
winking a nod.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Also, bosom buddies. When I was doing Joe vs. Volcano, I mentioned that Tom Hanks did Tootsie. I was confusing Tootsie for bosom buddies. So this is going to be so many weeks after Joe vs. Volcano comes out. I'm sure comments already told me I'm wrong, but now I'm correcting it now.
Just edit it out.
No, this is my correction. Hold on, bosom buddies. Now I'll cut that voice out, and anytime I say Tootsie, and I'll just. And
then there was a real quick moment where they had a flashback, or I don't know, some kind of like I think the Adam character. Rosenbaum's character, like he was talking about, like the job that he would end up doing would be like he would work at an old folks home or something like that. And then the guy that talks, and you're going to change my bag, that's actually John Vernon, Dean Wormer from Animal House.
Yes.
So I thought that was interesting.
It was a flash forward.
Right. Exactly. Right. Flash forward. Right. Okay, Butler. I said this last episode. I said I didn't think you were going to like it. When I went into this film, I will say that I was like, I know I like this movie, but I didn't know if I would still like it. Like I was just like, dude,
if everything would hold up
in
2024.
Yeah, I was wrong. I think it did hold up. I loved it. I still laughed out loud. It's so like I told you, someone texted me like this movie is just there's no reason why it should be funny, but it is. It's just hysterical. What'd you think?
I thought it was really funny. I thought it was really good. Better than I expected. And again, it's like the type of movie you don't see very often anymore. Like the raunchy comedy, like Porky's type comedy. But I thought a lot of the stuff would be like kind of, I thought there'd be a lot of stuff like that.
Inappropriate stuff.
Like, stuff that now in 2024 lens is just like, but there really wasn't that much of that. Like maybe the roofie stuff is a little like, you wouldn't put that in there now.
But the stuff in there that's bad is
it's
they
bad
address it in
purpose.
the movie.
Yeah, it's addressed. So I think a lot of it works still. I think there's very little of it that would need to be kind of toned down for modern audiences. I think
modern audiences grow up.
Well, I'm saying like now looking at it that lens. So I think the comedy still held up. I think there's like that line we used at the beginning. Like I laughed so loud I woke my girlfriend up because it was so good. It was such a good line. It's so gross looking at the dried crust stain on the skirt. Like the movie is just absolutely ridiculous, and there's so many good lines and so much stupid stuff. Yeah. And like we're gonna talk about, I'm sure the dildo fight. It's just there's so much that's really good.
That still holds up. So that's the one thing I always remember. I remember some of the lines, but that's the one thing I always remember from this film is the scene where they sword fight, but they sword fight with these like massive dildos. It's not just the fact that they're doing it with those. That's funny in and of itself, but the fact that it's like highly choreographed and like well done, like well acted and well performed.
It's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it's funny. It's like something it's almost like something like, if you and your buddies just hanging out, not with the dildos, but without anything, you just pretend
you and your buddies just hanging out, a bunch of dildos.
But it would be something like that. Like I can envision people like having that. Like,
sure, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just well done and it's funny.
When he clocks him in the head at the end of the fight,
I know. When he's running out and he sizes it up and throws him. Yeah.
Or at the beginning when he doesn't think the dildo's that serious, it's not gonna hurt me. And he smashes the statue in half.
So this movie is like light on facts, and I have some, but not a lot. But this is probably going to be an episode where we're just talking about everything we like about the movie or don't like or whatever. Perhaps you try to visit it. But this movie was originally called Dog Catchers. That was the original title. I don't know if you want to explain what that title is from.
So Dog is the name of the girls' fraternity in the film.
Well, the girl that's across from
them. The loser girl fraternity. The Tri-Pies or something.
The Tri-Pies are the fans, like the sister,
the pink
sorority,
girl, blonde girls, like skanky girls.
Like the Delta Omega Gamma.
Oh, Delta Omega Gamma. That's the dogs.
Yeah.
So when they go to parties and they do nothing or they just sit on the couch, if they're not being
they're not
active,
even invited to the party.
Yeah. If they come and they just do nothing, they get caught and they go, we need a dog catcher, and they throw a net over the girls.
Real
and then
classy stuff.
They catch them and then they throw them back onto the front lawn of their frat.
Real
so
classy
they
stuff.
do that a few times in the film. So they do dog catching. Mm-hmm. So that's why the movie was going to be called Dog Catchers. But I think if you don't watch the movie, that means nothing though. Yeah, I'm glad they changed the title because you'd go in going,
it's too specific.
What?
Yeah. It's really too specific to that thing. I'm curious, Butler. We're both college men. Did you ever think about rushing a fraternity or joining a frat? Did you ever get asked? Did nothing never crossed your mind?
I got asked. I think almost everybody gets asked.
Right.
There's always the big pledge at the beginning of the year where they try to get new people to fill the houses.
Right.
I mean, for the most part, just to pay the rent on the houses, because at least where I went to school, those houses were expensive. So they were like, even though it was a crappy part of Long Island, Hofstra wasn't crappy. Hofstra was a great school, but the surrounding area not so great. So like, yeah, they would always try to pledge, but I was never really interested in being a bro. That was never my jam. I was
listening to a podcast, The Economics of Everyday Things, which is a Freakonomics network. And I think I've talked to you about this. And actually one of the episodes, the last episodes was about college fraternities. And I didn't realize that you pay dues, you pay fees, and you sign into a contract. Like you actually fill out a form so that like, if you don't pay your dues and fees, debt collectors can come after you and stuff like that. So I was like, geez,
it's a serious
thing. No, I never realized that. No, I never rushed. I never was into it. Not that you asked, but I never was into it.
I figured you wouldn't be.
Well, no, I mean, I went to semester away, and then I, partied too hard, and I came back, and I just.
So you didn't need the frat. You already partied too hard with that.
Exactly. I kind of did the commuter school and whatnot. So I never really stayed away. I went away too long. But even then, when I was at school, I never got asked. I never was really interested.
Oh, you never even got asked?
No.
Do you play sports in college?
No, not in college. No,
because I was going to say, if you played sports, you would definitely be asked.
I kind of fell out of love with basketball, and so I never really kind of pursued it once I went. I mean, I was gonna go to like Wesleyan for a little bit, but they weren't gonna give me enough money, so I was just like, forget it. And again, like I said, like I didn't like basketball enough to be like, let's do it. So I was just like, forget it. So yeah, I never did as well. So I never really, my only experience of fraternity life is whatever anyone tells me or whatever I see on TV and movies and stuff like that. And I mean, I got a pretty good sense of idea what it is, because the place where I work, I think I work with a lot of people that were in frats. So I kind of know the behavior.
Where you work, it's a whole lot of, what's his faces. It's a whole lot of Spences.
Without the weird voices.
Without the voice is a little.
Yeah.
It's not even that. I don't even think I could do it. It's a lot like you're trying to be. Yeah, no, it's a lot like this. You're just really trying to be older than you really are. You're ruining my plan. It's a mask. The mask was funny. I like the mask. Although I would have liked to see more masks, because they do mention at the beginning, you got to stop making the masks.
Well, he does it with the plate.
At the end, he does the plate. I love the plate. So it's just like,
what is the cruise called? I'm going to call it a booze cruise, but it's not called that.
It wasn't called the booze
cruise. It's like the big party.
But it's the big party.
Yeah. I do believe there's an advantage with frats, because you get hired by alums.
You network right within school.
That I mean, they joke about it in the movie, but it's a legit thing. It legit happens. Yeah. Like you join a frat and you make friends, and a lot of these guys go off and are in like big time jobs. You're going to get hired because you're in that,
especially in the world of finance and law. Finance and law are like the two big ones.
Yeah, definitely finance. Absolutely, 100%. Okay, so who's a standout for you in this? Not just the three guys leads, but whoever.
Oh, not just the three guys?
Well, you can. No. I'm saying you don't have to limit yourself to them.
I think the three. I mean, I like Michael Rosenbaum.
I think he's the best.
I think he's the best. I think, he's great. I love Smallville. It's one of my favorite shows. I watched it all the time growing up. I'm a huge Superman fan, but like, I think after he left Smallville, there was no reason for him to be typecast, especially since he grew his hair. He looks like a different person. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't understand why he didn't do more after Smallville. And maybe he just fell out of love with Hollywood. A lot of his stories on the podcast are kind of, he's not big on the Hollywood system.
That's a big thing.
Yeah. But I think he is big on comedies. He loves comedies. I think Michael Rosenbaum has some really great moments. He's got some really great lines. He's got the most growth as a character.
He's making like the best thing I can say, and you'll appreciate this as being an actor, is like his best acting is in his reactions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When he's just
the lines he doesn't
reacting
say.
And he's just, being in the scene.
When he takes the walk of shame, his reactions are awesome. They're like perfect. Absolutely pitch perfect.
Yeah.
But Harland Williams is also really good as Doofer. Like his lady character is actually really good. And then in terms of the dogs, a lot of the dogs were really good. Like they weren't, it's surprising. Like it's a stupid comedy, like with a ton of characters, but I guess there's 4 or 5 of them that they really kind of focus on.
Yeah.
All are really good, and they all have their own jokes at different moments that really land.
Yep.
So I think they're all kind of standouts. I would have liked more of the main frat to be kind of like the dogs. I guess there's not a lot of stand up villain frat characters.
There's people you recognize from other parts, like the guy that Patty ends up with at the end, the heavyset black guy. He was like in the CSI Miami for
I don't even mean this like
I'm just saying like there's people that you notice, that you recognize,
but they're not They're not enough characters. You know, they're not really like
Jimmy's.
They
the
don't
only
get
one.
their own moments. Yeah, Jimmy's the only
has
one.
That connection.
And Spence a little bit, but Jimmy's the only one you really focus on.
I mean, you know, like so basically they get set up that somebody they are in control of the money, the safe, the treasure is Dave.
Dave is in
and
control.
Clearly, Spence steals the money, and they get busted. And there's a tape, and they get the plot is super thin, but that's not why we're there. So you know that Spence did it, so whatever. But like Jimmy, what's funny is like you could easily the character of Jimmy could easily be a character that you just kind of like dismiss with the one-off joke where, you know, or Adina or Adam is going there to get the tape, and you know we just did the line, but like you know he ends up like Jimmy kind of basically, you know, does stuff. And and you could easily write off that character as somebody who just whatever. But you actually have that kind of little redemption at the end when they're at the mixer with the dogs.
This is my friend. Be nice to
right.
me.
Yeah. And Jimmy's no longer like, because Jimmy was trying to be like Adam, and then Adam had to grow up a little bit. And then Adam's like, basically, listen, this is what we have to do.
Yeah.
Which is good, and listen, I'm not saying this is surface thin. This is not like some kind of deep moment.
Yeah.
But it's still necessary to have there. And
if you didn't within the story, we would be commenting on how you don't have that kind of moment.
But also, again, Mike, we talk about this all the time. This is not a gross out comedy, but this is a sophomoric comedy. This is a comedy that has a lot of these kind of like, for lack of a better term, dick jokes and stuff like that.
Body humor, yeah.
Right. And that's great. But you still have to have characters that an audience likes and wants to.
Yeah, if you don't have characters you care about or hate or care about either way, one good or bad.
And the three, basically the two main leads. I mean, Doofer's in there just for who cares about Harland? But he does get his little thing. But you want to side with them. So when you root for them and then anything they do, you're like, all right, good. Okay, you did that. They redeemed them. They're you give that little redemption story to Adam. He probably has the most growth.
Adam for sure has the most growth. Dave starts out wanting a girl that he can talk to, and he still just wants a girl that he can talk to. So it all kind of works out.
Yeah. My thing with Dave as Daisy, that wig is terrible. Like he just is that's
a wig from the 80s or 70s.
That's the 70s. And he dresses like he's from the 70s, which is fine. But like
he dresses like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Can you
give
him a better wig so that I can he's the lead. Can you just make him like, I can believe that Leah would fall in love with her and him, I just like, come on. Like his wig is like that stupid curl.
The sideburns are just like,
man, let's just go here.
Speaking about wigs, Michael Rosenbaum wore a wig.
Yeah, the note I had was because he had to keep his head shaved for Smallville, like Butler says he plays Luther, that he was like, listen, just give me the worst wig you can give.
That's a great note. That's a guy who understands comedy.
Yeah, like that. Exactly. That's a guy, like if you're doing a comedy, like if you're writing something, that's somebody you send the script. Like you just that's like, listen, let's do this because I think you know it, you get it, you know what's going on.
Well,
here.
I think that's like something that a lot of people don't pay attention to in Hollywood or just in general is like there are actors who, not just like the Will Ferrells of the world, but there are a lot of actors who can really do comedy, who aren't necessarily comedic actors, but they're also not like stuck in that drama world. And I feel like a lot of actors kind of look down on comedies, or they'll do comedies, but they don't quite get it.
Well, they're not funny.
Yeah. they're not funny, or they don't embrace it, or they don't know what funny is, or they don't know what makes a comedy movie work.
Listen, it's a skill. It's definitely being comedic and being funny is a skill. And like you talk about like how Alec Baldwin learned, like when he did 30 Rock, there was so much he learned from Tina Fey and the writers at 30 Rock that helped him hone his comedic ability. It's a skill that you have to know how to like when the right moment to hit the punchline, when to be funny, like when not to be funny, when to be serious is to be funny, like, like just the ridiculous nature of it. And there's so many different styles of comedy. There's dry humor, there's over the top humor. Yep. Like you have to know all that. It's not, we say this all the time. I say this to everybody. I know we say this. Like a lot of people when they make movies and they want to go make films, they think comedy's easy and they think horror is easy. And it's not. It's not easy. Comedy is not easy to do.
Comedy is probably the hardest thing you can do.
You see what we do every day with the short films. Like we're being goofy and stupid, and some of it works, but some of it doesn't work. But like still, like I think we have a good sense of what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we know our lane. I think that's what
sure, absolutely. Yeah.
But it's you're right. To your point, you're absolutely right.
So I think that they got like having someone like Rosenbaum is great because you have Harland Williams, who obviously is a comedic actor,
but he's going to play that same type of character.
But he's going to play that. But then you have Rosenbaum, who it's like, all right, I'm an actor. I'm not necessarily just a comedic actor,
right?
But I know comedy. And I think that that's important to have because as much as Dave is the main character, I think we might get more screen time of Adam overall.
And we talk about this all the time in a comedy. You have to have that one straight guy, the one guy that's not, when I say straight, I mean, not the funny guy, not having the funny lines. Has to be the audience. That has to be the bounce board, the foil for whatever's happening. And I think that's Dave in this. And that allows Michael Rosenbaum as Adam to do that stuff. But also he is somebody who is obviously sleeps with a lot of women. He doesn't care. He has to have that growth. So when he's walking along the street and they're throwing and he's like so incessant. He's like, I have a fat ass. And he's like, no, you don't. It's fine. He's like looking at this. You say
this is a fat ass.
He's like really hamming it up and it's great. And one of my favorite moments in the movie is when they're going to onto the cruise. They won the football game. So they're going to go on the cruise. Right. And he's like, and they're looking at Jesse. He's like, oh, please be a size 8. Please be a size 8. Yes.
And he runs to the dressing room.
It's just,
I love when he finally gets the confidence to throw the rock through the car at the calm fat ass and just hits the wall and the heads just go. But
like I also like when they're walking and the girl bumps into him.
And he hits him
and he just takes this thing just like whacks. Yeah. I was just like, yeah, like he's got so many, and that's not a line. I would assume that when they're doing that scene, they're like, oh, turn around and like hit him with your thing.
Yeah, and he just does it.
That's the stuff. That's like the stuff in the moment that I'm like, that's funny. You have to see, to Mike's point, you have to know that that's going to be funny, that ridiculous, over the top, that kind of in that moment. You have to, like, nobody would do that ever. That's why it's funny, like that kind of stuff. Like when they're fighting. Is it after the dildo fight when they have that fight when he's like, look at me, I'm ugly. No, I wouldn't fuck me. When he says that,
that's right after the fight. Yeah.
Like that stuff. He's like, I would never fuck me. Look at me. Like, stuff like that. So there's just so many like really not good lines, really good moments. The stuff that we talked about in terms of like what is, bad in terms of like they introduced the walk of shame when the girl leaves his room and then the other girl jumps out the window.
My note is who. Or I don't have the note. Elise was awake at that point in the movie. And I was like, who would knowingly sleep with him, knowing full well what happens at this frat when anybody sleeps with this character? Yeah. And then they switch to the other girl jumping out the oh, she didn't know, but she knows.
Yeah. Well, she learned because she heard him. But yeah. And the fact that they all wait for that, but that's fine. But like that scene happens and you're like, oh, and it's tough. And then it happens to him. And that's why that moment pays off. That opening scene is for what you have. Yeah. And then he slaps the guy and they're just all
punches him out.
And they're all just like, oh, what? Wait. Yeah, stuff like that. So I think there's a lot of stuff that works in that way. And then when they have the football game and they're just getting the crap kicked out of them by
we're going to easily win, the three of us.
Yeah.
The very first we kicked him right in the nuts.
Yeah.
My vagina.
Yeah. There's just a lot of good stuff. And I mean, even though that the film is on Ebert's most hated list.
I saw that. Come on, Ebert.
Nah.
I have found throughout this podcast that me and Ebert don't really see eye to eye on a lot of films.
That's fine. That's critic's job a critic's job is to spark your own opinion. And
sure.
You may agree, you may not agree. I mean, you shouldn't just go like, there's some critics that you're like, I like everything this guy likes. I hate everything this guy hates, or this woman hates and woman likes. I'm just going to listen to them. There's some critics like that. And then there's some critics you're just like, nah, you're off. You missed the mark there.
I would be very interested to see what he thought of Animal House and Porky's.
Oh, he probably loved them. He probably didn't like, well, he did write Valley of the Dolls. He probably, I don't know. I would say he liked Animal House, but I don't think he probably, maybe he did like Porky's. I don't know.
Because this is Porky's like the modern version of these.
Porky's was a huge hit.
Oh, I know.
Huge hit. So,
it was made for like no money.
Yeah. So, I mean, it struck a chord. So, I mean, what are you going to do? So it's like, that was what people wanted. So yeah, I think I want to go watch this now. I want to watch it again. I want to see Porky's. I just want to see like, what am I off on it? Anyways, Alicia Schwartzbaum from Entertainment Weekly, when she was working for Entertainment Weekly, gave this movie a B, Butler. There are moments of real funniness in this smarter than anticipated goof fest.
This is Entertainment Weekly?
Yeah.
Wow. They gave something that's not a C?
Well, this is Alicia Schwartzbaum from Entertainment Weekly. Ed Gonzalez of Slant Magazine gave this film 1.5 stars out of 5. He explains that, quote, Sorority Boys only confirms the threat posed to the film industry when homo-wary frat boys are allowed to play director. What do you think?
I don't think that they're. See, that's the thing.
What do you think about that angle?
This film could have gone in that direction. That's what I was saying. I was afraid of when I first started. Sure. Not afraid of, but like expecting when I first saw the film was like, all right, it's going to be a lot of gay jokes and stuff like that. And it
wasn't.
It's not. They don't play at that angle. They don't play, transvestites as, there's really not any transvestite.
No,
there's you're an ugly girl jokes and stuff like that. But there's really not a lot of that kind of crass humor that pokes fun at any kind of gender stereotype. It doesn't do that. So I think the fact that they're playing drag, then you'd have to say the same thing about Tootsie. You'd have to say the same thing about Bosom Buddies. And it's just, I don't think that's what this film is.
I think it's basically saying like, if you're looking for overall, societal themes in this, it's got guys are immature and they treat women like crap, like dogs sometimes. And sometimes they need to learn a lesson, and this is that thing. Yeah. I think if this movie's made now, it would be vastly different.
I don't think this movie's made now.
No, I think it would be, but they would put in a lot of societal stuff. They would try to put in like messages and stuff that would just defeat the purpose of the comedy. Like the one thing about this movie that I like is that it's simple. It's a simple story about these three guys that need to learn a lesson.
Yeah.
And the frat in and of itself needs to learn. Like that's
learn a lesson or change. Yeah.
Right. Change. Like,
which I like that line.
Growth. When
they're swearing in Adam as the new president.
Yeah.
Do you swear to uphold all the values and everything we stand for? And he's saying yes to everything else. He gets that and goes, no.
Yeah.
And then the guy's like, all right, straight up. Word up.
Yeah. Even the poem that bit. So in the beginning of the movie, Dave recites poetry to women because he wants to see if they think if they'll just looking
respond.
For a
he's
relationship.
looking for an intelligent woman. Yeah.
And what's funny about that quote is it's Shakespeare's son at 20, and the object of the narrator's affection that is actually sexually ambiguous. So I think that's interesting that he's doing that for this movie.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Right. But he does it for Leah, and she's like, "Oh, what? I'm just gonna have sex with you." Like she basically
you want me
said,
to give you a blowjob under the table right now.
So it's even him doing that. His purpose for doing it is I get it. But doing that is like still stupid.
It's still douchey,
it's still dumb,
stupid,
and he's still called on that. So I think that's you have that there as well, and Dave has to learn that. So yeah, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. But also this movie is just so stupid, but it works.
Before we continue, can I ask you one thing?
Yeah.
Right after they pledge to dog,
okay,
and they're all in the circle talking about each other, and the one girl looks at the painting on the wall, and it is Doofer's Roberta.
Yeah.
Like, did you think something was going to come of that? Because I was waiting for, okay, they're going to mention he looks like the house's founder, or he's related to her, or Doofer's an immortal or something. Like, I was waiting for Doofer to be immortal because of all the years it goes back. I was like, that would be hilarious. It's like a Jack McBrayer from 30 Rock situation.
I think maybe it's that part because was it a video
in the beginning when he's going through the pictures?
No, yes, he's in all the photos, but also when they talk about, do you remember 88 when he was talking about the bad cruise?
Oh yeah.
Doofer's in the photo.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah. So I think maybe that's kind of like that. They're trying to put that in there.
Sure. Yeah.
Or he's like I think that's part of it.
Yeah. I was waiting for something to come of that. So I was a little disappointed. Maybe it was a deleted scene, but
maybe.
I don't have anything there. All right, continue with your reviews. I'm sorry.
My last one, A.O. Scott from New York Times. He criticized the film's director, saying that he has made a film that even a rabid lowbrow like Homer Simpson, or When the Mood Strikes, this critic, meaning him, obviously, would find beneath his dignity. So, like, embarrassed to like it? A.O., if you like it, you like it. It's fine. Yeah,
stop being embarrassed to like it. I think you talk about that on the podcast all the time.
Yeah, there's no
okay to like something. You don't have to be ashamed about it.
Yeah, I used to say, it's my guilty pleasure. I get that reference and I understand it. I just don't think it's legit. Like, don't be guilty about liking something. Like it. Yeah, I mean, don't just like a movie. Like a movie and be okay liking it. I tell people what movies I like. Like, really? They go, yeah, what? Say something. They don't say anything. They don't care. They like stupid films too. Everyone likes stupid films. Sometimes a film hits you at a right time that you love it. But I don't want to keep going down that path. I keep saying that. I keep hammering that drum. Mike, would you recommend this to anybody?
I would absolutely recommend this to people. I think it's hilarious. I think it was slept on when it came out. It was just like, it's another stupid comedy. This was kind of...
American Pie was 99. So this is when American Pie came out in 99. That kicked off a bunch of movies. Road Trip.
Yeah. So it's tough. It probably got buried within all those other movies at the time. And it's just this one, I'm sure, with all the dildos and the swearing, it was tough. I'm sure it's tough to put this movie on Comedy Central back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I would have watched it. and it would have been heavily edited. So I think this was slept on in terms of all those other movies that came out of the time. Like we did Euro Trip. Like you said, there's 1,000 billion movies of those times, and then they stopped. And they just really, this kind of comedy hasn't really come out much, which we also talk about on this podcast.
Right.
So I think that if you like comedy, if you grew up, throughout the 90s and 2000s, you're going to really like this movie. I think a lot of the comedy is going to hit for you. I think if you watch this now, if you watch it with an open mind of just, it's supposed to be funny, even if you're, someone who this might be a little older for you, like a Gen Z, I think this would still be really funny for you. I think there's a lot of really funny moments. And I think that the premise, you might go in going, oh, this is going to be super cringy. It's not. It's the comedy works. It doesn't really hammer those points home. It's not homophobic in any way, like that one reviewer said at all.
Homo-wary director.
It's the same thing.
All right.
Fancier wording.
Fancy.
It's not. It's really good toilet humor, funny, which sometimes you need. Sometimes it's just fun to watch those movies. So I don't think there's anyone I wouldn't recommend this movie to.
I think I would be like, did you like American Pie? Did you like Road Trip? Did you like American Pie 2? Did you like Sex Drive? Did you like, what's the movie? Is Sex Drive the one with where they go to the Amish farm with is that Sex Drive?
I honestly don't know what Sex Drive is.
Really? That is that one. If you like those type of films, and those type of films aren't made right now, really. I mean,
the only thing I could think of is Blockers,
which was called Cock Blockers when it came out.
Yeah,
and I don't like the name. Yeah, and I think I remember we talked about that movie, and I said my biggest thing was I didn't care about the parents. I just wanted the girls and their stuff.
You say that. I like the parent scenes, but I remember liking Blockers. But you don't get that very often.
Booksmart's kind of like that, but it's more coming of age. I don't think you saw Booksmart.
No, I know what you're talking about.
That's like that, but that's more coming of age. I do like Blockers. Blockers is funny. If you like those type of movies, I think then you would like this movie. I can see I've never met anybody that didn't like this film, but again, I think a lot of people that I talk about this film with are people that are either my age or your age that, grew up with this movie or came
around the time of American Pie. Yeah.
But I still think if somebody came up and said, oh, Sorority Boys suck, I'd be like, whoa, I would think I would kind of playfully discuss it with them. But I do like this film. And I think I would recommend it to people that would like those type of films, because that's definitely a genre of the comedy genre that a lot of people don't like. So I don't think I would recommend it to everybody.
Who doesn't like those kind of movies? I've never met anyone like that.
Okay, you gonna recommend this to your parents?
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
Sure,
that's what I'm saying.
I wouldn't recommend any comedy to my parents, especially my father.
Oh,
my mom.
Your dad doesn't like comedy?
No.
Oh,
no,
it's too bad. Really?
Very little comedy.
What about the comedy and like the sci-fi? He likes sci-fi, right?
He likes sci-fi.
So yeah.
He didn't like Deadpool 2, but then he watched it again. He actually liked Deadpool 2.
Well, then there you go.
He likes comedy and like Lethal Weapon. He likes like comedy where it's like in another genre.
Okay, I get that. That's fine.
I do think
that.
there's rare
like Wedding
occasions.
Crashers?
I don't know
Who doesn't like
Wedding
Crashers?
I don't remember. I know he likes the first Austin Powers, which is surprising because he usually hates movies like that.
Let everyone else where they can find us.
You can find us right here, wherever you're watching or listening to this. Wherever you're doing that, please like us, rate us, subscribe all that kind of good stuff. I mean, it's simple. I know everybody asks, but it really does help the channel grow. It helps the algorithm learn and spread the word. It doesn't cost you, So I know everybody says it, but it really does help. And it would be great to see that, people are watching and listening and liking our content. Drop in a comment. Let us know what you think of sororities. What's your favorite line? There's a lot of good lines. I'm sure we have a whole list of things.
I've got a fat ass.
There's a lot more lines that I didn't even say either. So let us know what your favorite lines are.
No, I'm sorry.
Let other people comment.
Sorry.
And if you like our show, go to our Patreon. We have it's free to join. As soon as you join, you enter our Discord. We love to talk movies. We love to talk this movie. We'll talk about other stupid comedies from the 90s.
I'm going to watch a movie tonight.
And if you'll talk about it on Discord with you.
Wow. Yeah, okay.
So join that. We just really want to have a community of like-minded people who love discussing movies of all types.
Yeah, and if anyone's out there has watched the second season of Hunters, talk to me because I don't like it at all.
Even TV. We'll talk TV with you too.
I'm not a fan of it at all.
And if you're so inclined and you want to support us, you want to help the channel grow, join the Patreon as one of the tiered members. You get exclusive episodes, exclusive content, exclusive live streams, merch discounts, free stickers, all that kind of good stuff. So help the show grow in any way you can. Any of the free stuff, any of the Patreon stuff. We'd love to hear from you guys and we love to interact.
And I really like the first season of Hunters. So I don't get it. I don't get why bother coming back. Anyways, I don't know.
Money, man. Content.
It's not good. All right, join us next week. We're going to 2012. We're watching The Bourne Legacy. We're watching the 4th film with Jeremy Renner in it.
Don't sound sad. Don't sound sad.
I'm just saying, I don't remember a lot of this film. I don't remember loving it.
There's
so
a spoiler alert. I watched the first time in theaters and I did not like it.
Ooh.
And I screened it by myself because you were like, I'm not watching this piece of crap.
Yes.
So I watched it afterwards
Staying
myself.
strong.
Yeah,
Staying
you were like against it.
I wonder what came out that week. Maybe I just really wanted to watch whatever came out that week.
Maybe. So
Yeah,
I
I'll
watched it
check
at night by myself.
Maybe I just didn't like you.
And then I know Elise is a big fan. My fiance is a huge fan of the Bourne movies as well. So then she wanted to watch it. So I didn't tell her I didn't like it. And then when I watched it with her, I was like, I actually think I like this movie.
Interesting. Well, I'm intrigued.
So
I'm interested.
We'll see how
I'm interested in seeing
we'll
it.
split the
again.
difference to third viewing and see what I actually think about
So
it.
The Bourne Legacy. Well, it'll be next week on the show. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema. I got a fat ass Butler.
I got a fat ass.
I don't think I do though.
I'm an ugly girl. I am an ugly girl.
I don't think I do.
Beautiful.